Koi CBD has been a leader in the hemp wellness space since their start in 2015. The company is family-owned and community-focused. They have an expansive product range, including broad and full-spectrum CBD products and more, in tinctures, gummies, vapes, topicals, and even CBD for pets. All of their products are third-party tested by accredited laboratories to ensure potency and purity, and lab results are posted online for consumers to access. They have over 11,000 positive reviews posted on their website. Koi products are offered at thousands of retail locations nationwide. They offer discount programs through their website for veterans, as well as a Koi Rewards loyalty program to earn discounts and a subscribe and save service. So go to koicbd.com, that's KOICBD.com, and enter discount code NOWELL, NOWELL, for 20% off a single order through the end of January 2022. Thank you so much for your support.
Hey everybody, this is Jackson from Cashed Out, and you're listening to the Bradley's House Podcast.
Nothing is impossible, but certain things are highly improbable. Don't think I'll meet your kind again, not in this lifetime.
Hey guys, welcome back. Come on in and make yourself at home, as you should when you're a guest in Bradley's house. I'm your co-host, Jarett Orr. She is the executive director of the Knoll Family Foundation, and our host, Ms. Kellie Knoll. Kellie, how you doing today?
I'm doing really well. How are you, Jarett?
I am super good, better than I deserve. When we do this podcast and you line up these guests, Kellie, a lot of times we have these awesome musicians on, and admittedly, sometimes I'm not overly familiar with them. We've had some really cool new up-and-coming musicians that you said, hey, we got this great group coming on, or this great guitar player, and I'd go look them up on YouTube, and I'd end up listening to them for 2 weeks leading up to the podcast, and I'd be pretty excited by the time we had them on. But today's guest is from a band that I've been listening to well before Bradley's House ever got started. And that's one of the neat things for me, is because sometimes I get to fanboy out a little bit and we get to have these incredible musical guests on. So I am super stoked for today's episode. Kellie, who's our house guest today?
I totally expected you to say today's guest needs no introduction. Although I guess that's maybe a bit trite, but I'll say it. Today's guest needs no introduction. We're super fortunate to have with us today Raul Bianchi from the Expendables. Raul, thank you so much for being on the show.
Well, I'm honored to be here. Thank you guys for having me. And I wasn't sure where that introduction was headed, but I really appreciate it.
You're not one of those new and up-and-coming guys that nobody knows.
Yeah,
but,
we usually have people I don't know who they are, and this is no exception. It could have been...
No, not on this one. Admittedly, I'm a big fan. I've been a long-time fan, and you guys are constantly in my rotation, so that's why I was super excited. Not that I'm excited for every episode, anyone that comes on and chats with us, but for this episode, I was a fan, and I didn't need to do as much research. And admittedly, when we started the podcast, I told Kellie, I was like, listen, we're going to do this podcast. I'll do as much research as I can, get everything all set and ready for the episodes. And I know she still goes and does a bunch of research. But, when we were leading up to this, her and Anna are both like, are you ready? And I'm like, listen, I've been fucking ready for this one for a while. So, I'm super excited.
I just want to start by saying thank you so much for being a part of the house that Bradley built. We were stoked to have you guys on there. You guys did an amazing cover of Wrong Way.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun for us. That came about pretty quickly because I know we had talked about it. And I know this happens a lot with musicians where you get asked to do something and then you forget about it. Or you are on tour and then other things come up and then you get, did you guys still want to do this? Like, crap. Yes. And then, and so we actually didn't have a lot of time. So I think we all did that in about a day or two. Because we're fortunate enough to have our own studio here in Santa Cruz. And then most of, at least when we do electric stuff, we're fortunate enough to be able to have started, because of the pandemic, all using Pro Tools on our own. So it was pretty easy for us to bang this one out. So we were glad that we were able to get it done.
And how did you guys decide on the song, or did someone tell you that's what you had to do?
So initially, I think had we kind of been on the ball, we would have maybe not picked Wrong Way, because when we started out as a band, a lot of times it was just, hey, you're going to play a bar and you're going to play for 3 to 4 hours. So you're filling a lot of it with covers. And a cover that we always used to do was Bad Fish. And that was one that we had wanted to do because we had been playing that song for years. So we thought it might be fun to do an acoustic version of it. And then by the time it came down to Bad Fish is taken. So we said, all right, well, it's not like that's the only Sublime song that we know and like. So let's kind of go through the list. And Wrong Way was right up there towards the top. So we just sat there in our studio and we tried to play it a couple times in different ways. And the thing for us is we've done 2 acoustic albums. So for us, when we do an acoustic album or an acoustic rendition of a song, even if it's one of our own songs, the idea behind it is to almost treat it like it's a new song, to not just play it the exact same way we did electric. Because honestly, for me and for most of the bands, acoustic versus electric guitar is almost like an entirely different instrument. You have to approach it a different way. So it's like, how can we do this differently and sort of, keep obviously the spirit of the song and the feeling of it, but really just kind of put sort of a different flavor on it. I feel like when we do that with acoustic songs and it turns out the best is when it just kind of comes in really quickly. And I feel like that's how our version of that song came about.
Well, it definitely shows. You guys did a great job. I love it. Now, before we get started on anything about your background of the band, which I do want to ask about, I have to ask you about this because I'm super excited about this project. The Expendables that you did with Ballyhoo. So you guys did an album.
Actually, our manager, Brian Sandell, who also manages Ballyhoo,
right.
And he had this idea that he thought this would be a cool project for you guys to do. And we had already started working on our own studio album at the time, and said, well, you guys can just take a break since you're not going to be going on tour and you're not going to be really doing a whole hell of a lot the next couple months, year, and said, I have this idea. And I wasn't excited about it at all. I was like, I don't know. I don't want to do a cover album. I don't really feel excited about this. And Ballyhoo just started working on it because they're obviously more dedicated and and just more responsible, better humans than we are, whatever, any way you want to slice it. And but they started working on it, and then just like with this thing, that Kimmy's like, hey, are you guys still doing this? Because we're coming up on some deadlines here. And then we just started working on it. And as soon as we started working on it, I really fell in love with the project because we did sort of that same approach I was talking about the acoustic, where some of the songs we really kept it very similar in style, and some of the songs we got real weird with it. And by the time it was done, I feel like I had done some of my best work on it. And I feel like we really I think we did their songs justice, and then we heard the whole thing,
yes.
and we heard that they put as much effort and care that we did. And I think the whole project turned out great, and all the fans seemed to love it. And something that I wasn't really excited on the beginning ended up being one of my favorite things that I've worked on so far. And I'm really happy with how it's been received, because I can tell, you get fans, and musicians are the same way. You hear something the first time, you listen to it a certain way, and then if you hear someone else's rendition of it, you're not going to compete with the original. It just happens so much.
Right.
But the fans seem to kind of understand the idea behind it and the concept, and really sort of, I think, understood that we both really enjoyed each other's songs and really put our best foot forward with it. So I'm really happy with how it turned out.
Oh, that was great. It's just a cool collaboration, a cool twist on each other's songs.
Yeah.
And I just love hearing the way that you guys, reinterpret the music, knowing that, that the other band is going to be participating in it and hearing it and the videos and all that. I mean, it was just really great. What a fun project.
Yeah, we were definitely a little nervous when we did our Zoom meeting where we sort of did the reveal and we listened to each other's songs, because we definitely took a lot of liberties with the styles, I think, on half of the songs anyway. Half of the songs we did pretty faithfully, the other half. And I think they were a little bit more, for the most part, a little bit more faithful with their renditions. Just and then actually, my favorite song they did is the one that they really kind of did the most twisting to it, which I really loved when they did our version of Tight Squeeze. But I really feel like it was just really funny hearing them, because now that everybody's older and they're obviously skilled at recording themselves, and they're great musicians. So hearing them do our thing, like, oh yeah, we should have done it that way back when we were in our early 20s, not knowing anything.
Right.
It's like Kelly said, it's got to be a weird dynamic knowing that, they're going to hear it and you're going to listen to theirs. And we're going to get into the whole story. We know the whole deal. You guys grew up eating peanut butter and jelly sandwiches together and made this fucking awesome band. But I got to ask, because especially like in this, American California reggae style scene that's going on, there's a lot of features. You go do features on other people's songs, they come in on your album. Is there like a kind of a thing like, yeah, you're not gonna fucking outdo me on my own song here? Like, do you feel like you got to step up? Because I know I would. I'd be like, man, I got Hyrie or whoever it is coming in and do it, and you're not gonna show me up on my own shit. So I'm bringing my A game today.
I will guarantee you that happens. I can't imagine that it doesn't, because I feel like for a lot of musicians, whether it's false bravado or real, that you have to have some kind of ego behind what you do, because you go up on stage every night and it's pretty hard to do, and you're naked up there, and it's a very openly vulnerable position. So I feel like for me and for us, like getting a feature is more about the collaboration itself and about working with a great artist. Like we've had Hyrie on a song, and I know Adam wrote it, and they worked together really well on the vocals. And I don't think for one second that Adam thought, oh, I'm going to get shown up. He's probably thinking, and for us too, it's like, let's hope we get shown up. Let's hope this is great and that people really gravitate towards it. And that it's, so every time we get a feature, like we had Tech Nine, that was kind of our dream get for a hip hop artist to be on one of our songs. And that was kind of like, hey, let's throw everything to the wall for sticks. Like if we can get, him, that would be a dream come true. If we don't, we don't. And we ended up getting him. And for us, we thought he just absolutely crushed it. And we were so thrilled and so happy to have him on there. Our last our Moment EP that had, at Hyrie, it had Micah from Iration, it had Tech Nine, it had Eric Rachmani from Revolution. That was really the first time we had done hardly any features. We'd done a couple here and there, but that was an EP that like primarily focused on features. All songs but one had them. And for us, at least, I think we're not too much of an ego-driven band. While I understand, I've dealt, you deal with egos on tours and stuff like that. For us, at least, I don't see it as an issue, and I kind of welcome it. Especially, and like with the Ballyhoo thing, it's like, yeah, they did a great job. We knew that they were going to crush our songs. So I think in terms of setting the bar, we knew we didn't want to go in and give a half-ass effort or mediocre efforts. I think we really tried to rise to the occasion on that. But for me, that's always kind of the goal, is to do the best that I can do without making an ass of myself.
Preferably.
Well, on this podcast, I do the best I can do, but a lot of times, man, a lot of times.
Sometimes it's just unavoidable, huh, Jarett?
It is what it is. What do you want me to do?
Yeah. I've got enough. Yeah, I've done it plenty of times, made plenty of asses of myself multiple times. So it just happens. You just gotta focus on the next day.
You guys have to be chomping at the bit right now, and I know you kind of touched on it a little bit, but you guys are known as like one of the harder working bands out there. I mean, you guys cover some ground. I think I read somewhere that you guys were averaging like between 130 and 150 dates a year. You guys have to be ready to get back out there, man.
I think from like, I want to say around 2005 to 2015, 16, 130 to 150 would almost be on the low end. We'd probably be trying to push close towards 2. And just playing as much as you can, as often as you could. And we still had jobs that were nice enough to let us come back. So we'd go home, go on tour for, 6 to 8 weeks, maybe sometimes even 10 weeks, come back, have a week or two off, go do it again, come home, have a few months off or a few weeks off, and then go do it again. And I think that hurt us a little bit in terms of we just became really slow at recording because we were constantly on the road. But, for back then, at least, that was kind of the only way to sort of build yourself a fan base, was to just get out and grind it. And now that, we're a little bit older, and most of the guys in the band have kids. So we're not at that stage anymore, but because, we've done, I want to say must be something like 5 to 6 shows in the last 18, 19 months. We're definitely ready to go back out and tour. Yeah.
So
Oh
what did
my
you do to
God.
fill the time during COVID and the shutdown and all that?
We recorded a lot.
That's good news for your fans.
Yeah. So we've actually released, I think, 3 or 4 singles. We recorded the Expendables project. We're working on another full-length album ourselves. That is actually not that far from being finished either.
Fabulous.
Yeah, got myself a girlfriend, got her moved out from Colorado. So some of the guys, all the other guys are raising kids. So it's just, everyone stayed busy. We still write and record a lot. So that's just kind of how we stay busy. Yeah, we weren't playing shows, but that doesn't mean that we just get to sit and do nothing. So we wanted to try to, and we weren't making money. It's not like we make a lot of income just sitting around doing nothing. Our streaming income is not enough to sustain us. So without shows, we had to go on unemployment for a while, and there was touch and go here and there. But I took on some side trying to do some studio work, and because as soon as the pandemic hit, I had just bought myself a little apartment. And I was ready to just go and just start my life over again. I was just, I had just gone out of like an almost 9-year relationship.
Wow.
And it's sort of like everything was just kind of starting over. And I was like, hey, I'm scared. I'm by myself, but I'm going to try to get this apartment and just start my life and see how it goes. And then I got the keys, and a month later we were on tour, the third show of our tour, and the pandemic hit, and we had to go home, and everything just shut down.
Oh my God!
So it was hard. It was scary and stressful. I mean, it still is at a certain point, because now that our tour is starting again, and there's the Delta variant has come hit us, and things are going to be really kind of touch and go in terms of how we interact and how we play and how we travel. So, but anyway, so it was very kind of a stressful time. But at the same time, we were kind of given a gift in that we weren't really trying to be around each other too much. We were trying to social distance with each other. And so we all sort of got the kick in the butt that we needed to set up our home studios and record from home. So I went from having to rely on my other bandmates to record me to actually having a pretty decent setup in my home studio and learning Pro Tools and actually getting pretty proficient at it, where now I can, when times are tough like this, I can take on some session work and do some recording for other bands and other people. And I can have a really quick turnaround. And it's been really actually great for me. I feel like I've really advanced in terms of a musician, because I can record myself, and it's so much less stressful to record myself because I'm not just really anxious being in somebody else's studio, worrying about spending other people's money, or the band's going to be stressed out because the sessions are getting expensive, or I'm just, just sounds weird because I play in front of people for a living, but playing in front of other people and recording and just being anxious, I can just do it in my own time whenever I feel good, take breaks whenever I want and record. And I'm turning out such better product. The whole band is turning out better product because it's just so much of a less stressful environment. So
I'm excited about that. Now, I think another thing that has to be a little bit of a gift too, and I'm sure it's also a little bit of a curse, but and I didn't want to do the same interview with you that you guys do all the time, but we'll touch on it briefly here. Now, you guys have known each other and have been playing with each other for a long, long time, and like you said, a lot of tour dates, a lot of time up and down the road, a lot of time in the studio. This probably wasn't a bad thing to be able to get a little bit of a break and be forced to do it, right?
Yeah, I mean, Adam, our drummer, and I have been friends since first grade. So for us, we don't really need breaks, from each other that much. I mean, there are times, where you're just like, all right, I just want to be home off the road and just relax and be with your wife or girlfriend or whatever and just spend some time. But I mean, for the most part, I think part of the reason why we've kept the same unit intact as long as we have is because I don't think it matters who it is. You spend enough time with people, you're going to get on your nerves a little bit, and that happens from time to time. That happens with your family, people you love the most in the world. It happens with everybody. I think we're just good at sort of maintaining who we are and knowing that we're kind of all in this together and we're all going through the same thing. And it's okay for us to be at odds once in a while or disagree. But at the end of the day, we're trying to play music together, which I think we're very fortunate to be able to do for a living, and have been doing it for a living, for the better part of over a decade.
Almost
Really, I think
25 years.
Yeah, but we've been doing it professionally since where it's been our only job for 15, 16 years now, probably something like that. So, and I think sometimes you kind of just come back and you realize, you look at, you're like, oh well, we're still struggling here and there. It's not so easy all the time, but you kind of forget how fortunate you are to be doing what we're doing.
Mm-hmm. So you guys are from Santa Cruz,
Yep.
which I am familiar with because Brad went to school at UC Santa Cruz for the first 2 years of college.
Yeah, it's
So I
about
spent-
2 miles, mile and a half from where I live right now.
Oh,
Over the
nice.
campus.
Yes.
I actually lived on campus when I was a teenager. So
Oh, did you?
yeah, my mom was a provost, so we got a free house when she was working up there. So I was living up there for about 3 years. It's a beautiful campus. Yeah,
Yes, it's
beautiful.
gorgeous. I'd never seen anything like it. Just so beautiful. And that's one of the things Brad loved about it. But he also loved the whole vibe of Santa Cruz. And how do you feel like that has influenced your music or sort of like informed your music?
I think just for us, growing up in Santa Cruz, I remember I always have joking friends from out of town that always joke about it. Like, oh, you're from Santa Cruz, you must surf or skate. Like, that's just what people do.
Well, of
And
course.
the running joke was the fact that I didn't do either really until
What?
I was like probably about 2021. I didn't start surfing until I was 2021.
Were they threatening to kick you out of Santa Cruz until you did?
Yeah, take away my Santa Cruz card.
Right.
It's just that I feel like the surf skate culture is just part of what we grew up on, and I don't think it's as prevalent now in Santa Cruz as it was even 10 years ago, but it's still pretty thriving here. But that's just what we grew up with, and I feel like the music scene was so connected with that, and it goes through cycles for some, and different groups within. It's whether it's punk or blues or surf music or reggae. They have these pockets, and a lot of people are just kind of into the same mindset and have similar tastes, and that's just kind of how it was for us. And we had a lot of similar friends, and we all listened to the same types of music, or at least had broad palettes where we all listened to a lot of different types of music. So that's just kind of how it happened.
What were you listening to when you were growing up? What kind of stuff?
What's funny is for us is that why we are so weird and so eclectic in terms of in terms of what we play is because as the four of us, when we got together, we all love all kinds of music, everything. But we were all on different pages at the time. Like Jeff had kind of grown out of his like hard rock, classic rock, metal phase and really had started getting into reggae. And I had started playing guitar for a couple of years and was getting serious about it. And I got really into my instrumental guitar players, also like heavy metal and classic, all that. I was really getting into that stuff.
Yeah.
Adam was at the time was really kind of, he was really into REM. He was really into Sublime. He was really into a few other acts, but he was kind of more into a little bit more of what was currently being played on the radio. Ryan was more into like old punk. Like he's a huge Descendants fan, Bad Religion fan. And we were kind of all just sort of exploring those musics on our own, and then we would bring them to band practice and like, what the hell are we doing? Like we would be playing a song that had country parts and songs that have metal parts and songs that are blues or surf music, like Dick Dale influence type stuff, and we would have all across the map. And we still feel that to this day, that good music is good music. If it sounds good, we're going to play it. We're not going to shy away from anything, and that help us or hurt us, it's just part of who we are. But I think it's been really cool. It helps. Yeah. Hopefully it helped more than hurt, but because not everyone's into that. And not a lot of people want to go to his shows and be like, well, I heard reggae influenced songs. I heard rock influenced songs. I heard metal instrumentals. I heard surf inspired songs. I heard blues, countries,
Yeah.
We could be on the tour bus and Adam's listening to Norah Jones and I'm listening to some Swedish fantasy metal band, one bunk over, Ryan's listening to Britney Spears and Jeff's listening to Alpha Blondie. It could all be happening at the same time. So it's just a hodgepodge of flavors. And, I feel like I like to say like, we're not one of those bands that does one thing great. I think we do a lot of things okay, pretty well. So that's just who we are.
I think the variety definitely is a key to why people enjoy your music. It's
Hey,
nice to
variety's the
have
spice of life.
that depth. Exactly, exactly. What made you start playing guitar?
So I had always liked it. I don't know why, but my dad had an old nylon string classical acoustic guitar sitting around the house. He didn't know how to tune it. He didn't know how to play it. I didn't know how to tune it. I didn't know how to play it. Just sat there. But I always kind of liked it. And then I went to a buddy's house for 8th grade graduation, and all my friends were sitting around there, and they were all like passing around his electric guitar and playing different stuff, whether it was Jimi Hendrix or Eric Clapton stuff from Cream, or Nirvana was big at the time, all that kind of stuff. And I just sat there watching them. I was fascinated, and I wouldn't leave my friend's bedroom until he taught me how to play one song on the guitar, you know? And from there, I every time I go to his house, oh God, you're going to sit there and make me teach you songs for an hour and a half. And yep. And then I started, and I couldn't put it down. And then I just started taking lessons and then didn't stop.
That's fantastic. I mean, obviously it worked out well. You guys started the band while you were still in high school, isn't that right?
Yeah. We started in high school, and kind of the tail end of our junior year, right before our senior year. And then we just kept going after that. And then we were pretty bad. I don't think we
shouldn't be digging out the old recordings.
I mean, I have trouble listening to most of our music, even after our second or third album. It's just, oh God, is the fidelity's bad, or for me, it's always because I'm so neurotic and such a head case. It's always like I could have done better, could have done better, could have done better, could have done better. And so that's part of the reason it all existed. But even if like the audio quality is bad, or just what we did, or why are we doing 45-second intros for every single song? Like, get to the point, you know. You just critique yourself. But it wasn't until, you know, we just kept playing. Anyone offered us a show, we'd take it. You know, we'd drive down, you know, we all go to work on a Friday night, and then get up early in the morning on Saturday, drive down to somewhere in like LA or Huntington Beach or something, play a show, and drive back that night and go back to work on a Sunday morning. You know, we would just do it all. We wanted to play. We just wanted to play. And after doing that for a few years, we just got better. And anytime anyone offered a show, we just expanded our radius to however far we could drive and do it. And eventually we started getting some tour offers. And once a band really starts touring, then they get a lot tighter and they get better. And that's just kind of what happened with us. It took years and years and years. Cause I mean, that's how the name came about. Cause we weren't good. The Expendables was a joke that we were all expendable. We could be kicked out of the band at any given time, cause we were all so bad at what we did. We really were bad. It was just, I think,
that's hard to believe.
You know, I feel like bands that start later in life have an edge in that they can start out decent,
right,
for the most part. But the lion's share of bands that start when they're teenagers, you know, yeah. I won't speak for every band that does this, but for us, it was just, you know, we were teenagers that had only been playing our instruments for a couple of years. We just weren't very good, and it took us years to get mediocre, and then years after that to look back and go, God, when we thought we got good, we still weren't good, you know. But
there's no substitute for just getting out there and playing shows, good, bad, anything in between. You just got to get out there and do it,
right? And then when you play shows and you go on tour, you get better. And I feel like you can kind of tell bands that play that don't tour and bands that play that do it. It just takes time. You just get in a sync and a rhythm with your bandmates, and even off the stage, you're just constantly together, and the time together, you just really get a feel for each other I feel like it's hard to replicate any other way. I'm not saying it's impossible, but it's definitely not you definitely get that there's a catalyst for increasing, you know, the amount of time together. That catalyst is, it gets you better faster. It just happens. Sure. You just become tighter.
What kind of sounds can we expect from your newest album?
I mean, I'm sure I shouldn't say more of the same crap, right?
No,
but
you definitely should not. You're not a PR person, are you, Raul?
No. So we have, I'll be getting my pink slip from the band shortly. Right. No, I would say that, like, so we have started writing some songs with we've been trying to do this forever, but we just couldn't afford to do it. We just started doing some shows recently with the keyboard player.
Wow.
So having someone on keys that is actually really good at what they do, instead of me just kind of half-assing it, trying to do it on my own, which I used to do.
Wow.
And just getting some of that. So there's definitely been a lot more of a melodic keyboard, sometimes synthesizer, sometimes. So there's definitely some solid reggae influence on this album, but also a little bit more vintage style. Like I feel like one of the songs that we just did, I don't care if I'm supposed to keep it a secret or not, whatever. We've been working with Brett from Pepper on a song that we feel like is pretty reminiscent of UB40. I feel like that we've got going on, and then so we've just, to me, that's the kind of that it invoked that sound with me. I mean, I'm sure you get probably a dozen people to disagree with my take on it, but that's how I feel it. That's got that kind of vibe.
Awesome.
I mean, Adam's got a song that we just recorded that could probably go on somebody's country album.
Wow.
It's almost like I want to feel like it's kind of like a take between influenced by like reggae and also country. So that's pretty eclectic.
That's intriguing.
I've been working on a song that I wrote during the pandemic that was kind of personal to me. That's kind of about sort of what I was going through at the time with newly being alone. It's a really broad mix for me in terms of like very sort of spacey delay guitar, but also has like a instrumental rock element to it. So it's definitely, I would say, a more sort of complete structured songwriting than we've done, but also with now the fact that we're all recording together, that it's also some of the best sounding music that we've done in a long time. So
when you guys
and costing us a lot less.
Yeah,
because we're doing it ourselves.
That's a bonus. When you guys start out doing an album, do you kind of have an idea of what direction you want the whole album to go, or do you just sort of let it happen organically and see where it goes?
You get a nasty email from management going, "You guys haven't released an album in X amount of years. What are you doing? You guys just sitting on your ass at home like work." And for us, I think it's kind of a slower process. Some bands can just turn it around. We just have a slower process, and it's everyone sort of approaches songwriting differently, and some people in the band are a little bit more prolific and can knock out songs faster, but still be slow to sort of finish the product. Whereas someone like, if I write songs, it's much more seldom when I write complete songs, but when I do, I spend a lot of time sort of in the creation process. So when it comes to the table, it's a little bit faster to get finished, but everyone's kind of different. And no, we don't record any song the same way. There's no, X member has a song, here's how we're going to record it.
Right.
Sometimes it's a complete song, sometimes it's a shell of a song, sometimes it's just a jam. There's all different ways that we do it, and usually we just start working on songs. Everyone's kind of constantly working and writing, and hopefully, like when we get together, it's enough to sort of put a cohesive album together. And I feel like because we're so eclectic in the styles that we do, it will be hard for us to sort of sit down and go, okay, here's how we want the album to sound, because it's going to be all over the place no matter what.
That's cool. So when you guys are out on the road, I mean, I would imagine there's got to be a lot of cool things and also a lot of difficult things. What's something that you don't enjoy about being on the road and something that you really do?
So obviously being away from home is really hard.
Right.
So whether
do you have a big family?
No, I have a small family. My parents are getting older too. So it's, I've got a brother and his wife and kids up in San Francisco, and just me and my girlfriend down here in Santa Cruz. And then my dad and mom are also here in Santa Cruz.
Nice.
So, but I don't like, when I'm home, I like to just hang out and hang out with my girlfriend and hang out with my parents and go have lunch, or, cook dinner, just go for bike rides, go hiking, go exercise, stuff like that. So it's hard being away from your loved ones. I think that's for most musicians, that's always going to be the hardest part, is being away from the people that you care about.
Sure.
especially for extended periods of time. It's just, there's no way to just make it not suck and make it not hurt. It just happens.
Sure.
And also part of that too is we're not small guys, you know, everybody in the band except for our singer is over 6 feet tall. So sleeping in a bus is not comfortable. So I don't sleep well. None of us sleep well.
Oh gosh.
Yeah. But what I do love, I guess one thing too. So how I try to mitigate being away from home is I try to take one of my routines from home with me on tour. And for me, it's going to sound bougie as shit, but like just taking my little pour over coffee, taking my beans, grinding the coffee every morning, doing my froth milk and like making my little coffee every morning kind of just makes me feel sort of normal. Not like I'm just in this traveling dirty submarine, you know, I've tried to be normal.
It
but
does
also,
sound bougie, but it's smart. I get it. That's great.
You need little things from home that sort of bring you back and make you feel human, I guess. Because there's so much about the road is just abnormal. It's
got to be a strange way to live.
It just ain't right. Yeah, it's just weird. But another thing that I really, really love is I kind of classify myself and my friend Adam as we're just kind of low rent foodies. So we like to go, we're on the road. It's like if we're in Texas, let's try to get some good barbecue, you know, or if we're in New Orleans, maybe get some good seafood or go get beignets and coffee or, you know, everywhere we are, you know, try to go, you know, we always have this thing where every time we go to New York, we either have pizza fantasy or burger fantasy, or we just go try to find the best pizza we can find. We'll eat like 2 or 3 different pizza places on a walk or go find a good burger somewhere. Like that's just kind of fun for us is to go try to get some good food. Cause for the most part, especially when you, in your beginning days, it's like, well, you got $10 to last you for the day. If that, you know, guess what? That gas station has a Subway. So you're going to get a foot long or 2 foot longs and that's going to last you for the day. Or you're going to be eating, you know, beef jerky or hard boiled eggs from the gas station. Or, you know, it's just, it's bad. And then eventually you start getting a little bit more success and you can afford to eat better. Sometimes there's just not stuff around you, you know, it's not like a music venue that's going to get a sound permit is going to be close to where everything's happening. So sometimes you're just like, well, I guess we're eating McDonald's for dinner, or I guess we're eating whatever's close by that will deliver or anything. So you're not always going to get good food and it's kind of hard. So anytime the opportunity presents itself to get a decent meal, we will always try to do that.
That's smart. I think that's a good way to go. It's got to be tough having guys that you've known for so long and being in such close quarters for so long to constantly get along with each other. I mean, do you guys find that when you're on maybe an extended tour, you all sort of have times where you go your separate ways a little bit to get your own space?
Yeah, I think everyone's pretty good at that, whether it's, you know, for me, it might be going on a run or going to find a gym, or Adam might go on a walk to find a good breakfast place or something like that. Maybe someone will just get their AirPods and go for a walk, and, you know, you'll see Jeff outside talking to his girlfriend or something like that on the phone, and just, or, you know, it's just, you can find time to, even if it's just being in your bunk, taking a nap, you know, you can just find some time for yourself. And I think we've gotten pretty good at kind of knowing when we need to just, you know what, maybe I'm the asshole. Maybe I should just go take a walk, or I should just go watch a movie. You know, Adam does go watch movies a lot, or you can watch, you know, Netflix in your bunk or something like that, and just sort of try to, I think we're good. That's part. Yeah, we're just decent at not getting on each other's nerves for the most part. But it still happens. But, you know, yeah.
Seems like that's got to be a big key for success, long-term success with the band, because it's so heartbreaking when you hear about these bands that just can't get along, or, you know, they're making great music, but there's just too much infighting, and I get it. I mean, it's like a family, you know, it happens, but it's always it's a bummer for the fans that we miss out on good music, because, you know, it's got to be tough to get along.
Yeah, you know, you hear stories about bands like replacing members. I remember you heard the story about who was it? I think it was AC/DC. You hear bands like, they're like, you know what, he was just hanging out, one of the guys, you know, he was just fun to be around, so we wanted, you know, take him on as a singer. You know, it was just, that's almost as important when you hear about bands getting new members. That is such an important, because you realize how much time you have to spend with them.
Yeah, it's like a marriage.
It's more than anybody. You have to spend more time with that person than almost anybody in your entire life. So you have to be able to get along with them. And I think that's so important, that when bands start out, they're not thinking about that. No band is getting together going, okay, so we're starting our first band. We like each other's musical vision. We have a lot of mutual interests and tastes when it comes to music. We're going to have to spend 12 to 15 hours a day together for the next 20 years, and be like, oh shit, I didn't think about that. We're going to start to hate each other. You don't think about that. So that's what happens. Eventually you just get bands that just can't get along, or maybe they just decided after a while that they're, as you get older and your music tastes change and evolve, that maybe they don't see eye to eye and it ends. So I do understand that it happens, because it's when we first started playing music in high school, I didn't know shit about shit when it came to anything in the music industry or business. I knew nothing about it. I had no idea how hard it was going to be. I had no idea what it was going to entail. I had no idea that playing music live meant that your favorite thing to do was play music, and that was going to be the shortest part of your day.
Right.
Traveling is basically going to be your day. You just don't know these things when you start out.
Right. And it sounds so glamorous from the outside looking in, but I would imagine it really gets to be a grind.
Yeah, just because, I mean, just 2 weeks ago, we're like, oh, you're playing again. You're doing this festival. It's like, yep. We drove up to, we had a 6-7 hour drive, and we played a festival, got straight off the stage, went to the airport, dropped off the rental cars, took a red eye to Boston, got more rental cars, drove up to Maine, played a festival, came back and flew home. And we were dead. We were drained.
Wow. Yeah.
And people just don't realize that that's sometimes is the ugly part about being in a band, is that you're traveling, which it really is 90% of your job. It just can be crushing sometimes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's all about staying sane during those times, I'm sure.
Right. And trying to sleep.
Right.
Yeah. Trying to sleep, trying to eat right, trying to stay in contact with your loved ones. It's definitely a juggling act for sure.
Well, I know I can speak on behalf of all your fans that we're super glad that you guys do, that you find a way to juggle it, you find a way to make it work. You guys are making great music, and we definitely look forward to a lot more. Any clue as to when the new album's coming out?
No, because we're still putting songs together as it is. We were on a tight, we actually had a pretty good rhythm going, and then there were some shows and some COVID issues. So then we had to take a step back for a while, so we're a little behind, but we're hoping early to mid next year is what we're hoping for.
Fantastic. Well, that's definitely something to look forward to. Well, thank you so much for taking the time with us. And of course, if anybody wants to check out more of your music, they can find you guys at theexpendables.net, and of course on all social media. And again, from my family too, thank you so much for being on The House That Bradley Built. It was such a privilege for us to have you guys on there, and I definitely hope to see you soon at a show.
Well, I appreciate that. Thank you so much. And we definitely were honored to be a part of that. And I was really grateful to get the email and the call. I'm glad we could do this podcast. So thank you guys so much.
Oh, thank you, man.
Anytime.
Well, Kelly, exactly as expected, Raul was amazing. I'm a huge Expendables fan. As we had mentioned during the recording, and it was just really cool to have him come on and tell a little bit of the story, and it was just a lot of fun chatting with him.
It was. He was so nice. So great to get to know him. And I loved having the Expendables on The House That Bradley Built. It was great to have them be a part of it. They did such a great job with their cover of Wrong Way. So I hope people will check that out, and definitely check out more about the Expendables on their website, theexpendables.net. I know we're going to be at Cali Vibes in Long Beach this coming February of 2022, and the Expendables will be there as well. Looking forward to seeing them.
Yeah, super looking forward to Cali Vibes, and I'm sure that everybody listening has already either got their tickets booked or just know that they're not going to be able to make it because those tickets were selling quick. But I'm super excited to get out there and see a bunch of the folks that we've had on the podcast, and then be able to kind of see them do what they do up there on the stage. So definitely looking forward to that, and of course, as you had mentioned, Raul and the boys did an amazing cover of Wrong Way, which is available on the House That Bradley Built compilation. Of course, you guys get that at law-records.com. And we always like to leave you guys with a song typically we get to get one right from the House of Brad. I'm getting nervous, Kelly, because what's going to happen when we're out of all of these amazing arts? Paul, we need another album because I don't know what we're going to play after the podcast anymore. So if our friends at law-records.com are listening, we could use another 57 songs. So I know what we're doing as far as guests and songs go.
Since you mentioned it, Jarett, the 1-year anniversary of the release of the deluxe edition is coming up on January 15th, 2022. And we do have some special stuff planned. And hopefully in the coming year, we'll see some more stuff come out. Hint, hint, regarding the album. So there's definitely some more stuff in the works.
If I don't get on the hidden track on the next album, there's going to be an issue. I'll talk to Paul and Yee, but I'm getting on the hidden track for sure.
Speaking of Paul and Yee, we should have them back on. Maybe we should do that for an anniversary show of the anniversary of the album.
They could come on every week, as far as I'm concerned. So I would have absolutely no problem with them as guests coming up. So I can't believe it's already been a year since.
Isn't that wild?
Deluxe. It's been quite a year. It's really I can't believe how fast it went, and looking forward to some big things coming up in 2022, where we're going to try to do what we can to get this house built and continue to raise some money. You guys know how you can help out. You can go ahead and visit the NoelFamilyFoundation.org, or you can just scroll down right down there, see right below us. You can go ahead and click on the link, and that will get you to all things Noel Family Foundation, and find out how you guys can have a piece of this, and we can kind of do this thing, and we can all do it together. We can do it the right way. But I guess to end today's show, it'll be the Expendables doing a Wrong Way from the compilation album The House That Bradley Built. Until next time, I'm Jarett, or she's Kelly Noel. You guys don't have to go home, but it's time to leave Bradley's house.
And he's 12 years old, and 2 more she'll be a whore. Nobody ever told her it's the wrong way. Don't be afraid, with the quickness you get laid. For your family get paid, it's the wrong way. I gave her all that I had to give. I'm gonna make it hard to live. The salty tears running down her chin, and it ruins up her makeup. I never wanna live. A cigarette pressed between her lips, but I'm staring at her tits. It's the wrong way. Strong if I can, but I am only a man, so I'll take her to the can. It's the wrong way. The only family that she's ever had is her 7 horny brothers and a drunk ass dad. He needed money, so he put her on the streets. Everything was going fine till the day she met me. Happy or you sad? Wanna shoot your dad? I'll do anything I can. It's the wrong way. We talked all night, tried to make it right. Believe me, she was tight. It was the wrong way. So run away if you don't wanna stay, 'cause I ain't here to make ya. Oh no, it's up to you what you really wanna do. Spend some time in America, dope style. Salty tears running down her chin, and it smears off her makeup. I never wanna live. So we ran away, and I'm sorry when I say that straight to this very day it was the wrong way. She took a hike, it don't matter if I like it or not, because she only wants the wrong way. I gave her all that I had to give, she still wouldn't take it. Oh no, her 2 brown eyes are leaking like gossip, and it still ruins her makeup and never wants